It all began on a cold, dreary afternoon when I received an unexpected letter. The envelope, yellowed with age and sealed with crimson wax, bore the emblem of my ancestral home, Blackwood Manor. Inside, a formal script informed me of the passing of my estranged great-uncle, Lord Reginald Blackwood, and that I was the sole heir to the estate. And memories of childhood visits to the manor flooded back vast corridors, antique furnishings, and an ever-present sense of melancholy that seemed to permeate the very walls. And despite the foreboding recollections, curiosity and a sense of duty compelled me to journey to the manor and claim my inheritance. The journey to the English countryside was long and shrouded in mist. As the carriage approached the manor, its silhouette emerged, a grand yet ominous structure with ivy-clad walls and turrets reaching towards the overcast sky. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, setting an unsettling tone. And upon entering, I was greeted by the caretaker, Mr. Thorne, a tall, gaunt man with hollow eyes that seemed to hold countless secrets. His demeanor was as cold as the manor itself, and his presence only added to the unease that settled in my chest. As days passed, I explored the manor's many rooms, each filled with relics of a bygone era. One evening, while rummaging through the library, I stumbled upon a hidden compartment behind an old bookshelf. Inside lay a leather-bound journal belonging to Lord Reginald. The entries spoke of his obsession with the occult and a desperate quest for immortality. And he detailed rituals and seances conducted within the manor's walls, attempting to contact spirits from beyond. The final entry was particularly disturbing. It hinted at a ritual that required a blood sacrifice to achieve eternal life. It stayed that night, as the wind howled outside and rain battered the windows, I was awakened by faint whispers echoing through the corridors. Following the eerie murmurs, I descended into the basement, a place I had avoided due to an inexplicable dread. The air grew colder with each step, and the whispers intensified, forming incoherent sentences that sent chills down my spine. In the dim light, I saw shadows dancing on the walls, moving independently of any light source. A sense of being watched overwhelmed me, and I hurried back to my room, heart pounding. The following nights were plagued with restless sleep and haunting visions. One night, I awoke to find a figure standing at the foot of my bed, a translucent apparition resembling Lord Reginald. His eyes, once cold, now burned with an otherworldly fire. He spoke in a voice that resonated both within the room and inside my mind. "You should not have come. The ritual remains incomplete, and the manor demands its due." Frozen in terror, I could only watch as he extended a skeletal hand towards me, his fingers elongated and claw-like. Just as he was about to touch me, he vanished, leaving the room in an oppressive silence. As days turned into weeks, and my grip on reality began to wane. The whispers became a constant companion, and shadows seemed to follow me, lurking just beyond my vision. Thorne's behavior grew increasingly peculiar. His eyes gleamed with a sinister intent, and I often caught him muttering incantations under his breath. Determined to end the torment, I delved deeper into Lord Reginald's journal, seeking a way to break the curse that bound the manor. The final pages revealed a chilling truth. The ritual required the blood of a direct descendant to be completed. Realizing that my very presence fueled the malevolent forces within the manor, I decided to confront the entity head-on. The states, armed with knowledge from the journal and a resolve to end the nightmare, I ventured into the heart of the manor, the grand hall where the original ritual had taken place. As I began reciting the incantations from the journal, the temperature plummeted and a deafening silence enveloped the room. But suddenly, Lord Reginald's apparition materialized, his form more solid and menacing than before. "You cannot undo what has been set in motion," he snarled, his voice dripping with malice. Summoning every ounce of courage, I continued the incantation, my voice unwavering. The ground trembled, and the shadows writhed as if in agony. With a final thunderous proclamation, a blinding light filled the hall, and Lord Reginald's scream echoed through the manor before dissipating into nothingness. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the manor seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The Thorn, now free from the entity's influence, expressed profound gratitude and revealed that he had been bound to serve Lord Reginald's malevolent spirit for decades. With the curse broken, I made the difficult decision to leave Blackwood Manor, allowing it to rest undisturbed. The experience left an indelible mark on my soul, a constant reminder of the thin veil between our world and the unknown. As the first light of dawn pierced through the heavy curtains, I found myself seated at the grand dining table, the remnants of a sleepless night etched upon my face. The events of the previous night weighed heavily on my mind. The whispers, the apparition of Lord Reginald, and the unsettling revelations from his journal. I couldn't shake the feeling that the manor was alive, its very walls pulsating with a dark energy that sought to consume me. Mr. Thorne entered the room, his footsteps eerily silent on the polished wooden floor. He carried a silver tray with a teapot and a single cup, placing it before me with a practiced grace. His hollow eyes met mine briefly before he spoke, his voice devoid of emotion. "Tea, Miss Blackwood. It may soothe your nerves." He nodded, wrapping my hands around the warm cup, seeking comfort in its heat. "Mr. Thorne," I began, my voice trembling slightly, "how much do you know about Lord Reginald's practices?" He paused, his expression unreadable. And the master had many interests, some of which were beyond my understanding. It is not my place to question the affairs of the Blackwood lineage. In frustration bubbled within me. "But surely you must have noticed something. The rituals, the seances, did you not find any of it concerning?" His gaze shifted to the window, where the morning fog clung to the landscape like a shroud. "The manor has always been a place of secrets, Miss Blackwood. Some are best left undisturbed." And unsatisfied with his cryptic response, I decided to seek answers elsewhere. After a light breakfast, I ventured into the village, hoping to find someone who could shed light on the manor's dark history. In a village of Ravenswood was quaint, with cobblestone streets and ivy-covered cottages. The locals eyed me with a mix of curiosity and suspicion, their whispers following me as I made my way to the small church at the edge of the village. And if anyone knew about the manor's past, it would be the parish priest. And Father Donovan was a kindly old man, his face lined with the passage of time. He welcomed me into the modest rectory, offering a seat by the hearth. As I recounted my experiences, his expression grew increasingly grave. "Miss Blackwood," he began, choosing his words carefully, "the history of your family is intertwined with tales of the supernatural. Lord Reginald, in particular, was known for his fascination with the occult. There were rumors of dark rituals conducted within the manor, rituals that some believe have left a lingering presence." I shuddered, recalling the whispers and the apparition. "Is there any way to rid the manor of this presence?" And Father Donovan sighed, his gaze distant. "There are rites of exorcism, but they require great faith and strength. The spirits tied to your family may not be easily banished." And determined to confront the darkness, I returned to the manor with a newfound resolve. And that evening, armed with a rosary and a prayer book gifted by Father Donovan, I descended into the basement, the heart of the manor's malevolence. And the air grew colder with each step, the shadows lengthening as if reaching out to ensnare me. The whispers began anew, a cacophony of voices overlapping, each vying for attention. And I clutched the rosary tightly, reciting the prayers with a fervor born of desperation. And a sudden gust extinguished my lantern, plunging me into darkness. And panic threatened to overtake me, but I forced myself to remain calm, focusing on the rhythmic cadence of the prayers. And slowly a faint light emerged, a ghostly glow emanating from the far corner of the room. And there, partially obscured by debris, lay an ornate mirror, its surface tarnished with age. And the whispers intensified, and as I approached, the reflection shifted, revealing scenes of past rituals, cloaked figures chanting around a pentagram, blood sacrifices offered in exchange for power. And among them stood Lord Reginald, his eyes gleaming with a manic fervor. And the gazes met through the mirror, and a sinister smile curled upon his lips. His voice echoed in my mind, a chilling whisper that sent shivers down my spine. You cannot escape our legacy, my dear. The blood of the Blackwoods binds you to this fate. In summoning every ounce of courage, I raised the rosary, pressing it against the mirror's surface. And the glass trembled, cracks spiderwebbing across its surface as a piercing scream filled the air. And the mirror shattered, the fragments dissolving into shadows that dissipated into the ether. And the oppressive weight that had suffused the basement lifted, the air growing warmer, the whispers silenced. And exhausted but triumphant, I ascended the stairs, emerging into the manor's main hall. And Mr. Thorne awaited me, his stoic facade momentarily broken by a flicker of relief. And the manor feels lighter, he remarked, his voice tinged with awe. And I nodded, a weary smile tugging at my lips. And the darkness has been vanquished. We are free. In the days that followed, the manor transformed. And sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating rooms that had long been shrouded in gloom. And the once oppressive atmosphere gave way to one of peace and serenity. As I prepared to depart, leaving the manor in Mr. Thorne's capable hands, I couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. And then Blackwood Manor, with all its mysteries and shadows, had become a part of me. But it was time to forge my own path, unburdened by the ghosts of the past. As I rode away, the manor stood tall against the horizon, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of light over darkness. After leaving Blackwood Manor, I settled into a modest cottage in a nearby village, hoping to distance myself from the haunting memories. However, the shadows of the past seemed determined to follow me. Each night, as I drifted into slumber, I experienced a phenomenon known as sleep paralysis, a state where I was conscious but unable to move, often accompanied by terrifying hallucinations. And I would see shadowy figures lurking in the corners of my room, their eyes glowing with malevolence, whispering unintelligible words that sent chills down my spine. Desperate for relief, I sought the help of a local sleep specialist, Dr. Evelyn Harper. And she explained that sleep paralysis is a common occurrence, often triggered by stress and disrupted sleep patterns. While her explanation provided some comfort, it did little to alleviate the dread I felt each night. One evening, as I prepared for bed, I noticed a familiar scent wafting through the room, the distinct aroma of Lord Reginald's pipe tobacco. My heart raced as I scanned the room, finding nothing out of the ordinary. In shaking off the unease, I slipped under the covers, hoping for a peaceful night's rest. In the depths of the night, I awoke to the sensation of being watched. And unable to move, I strained my eyes to see a figure standing at the foot of my bed, a tall, gaunt man with hollow eyes. It was Mr. Thorne. His lips moved, but no sound emerged. And suddenly, he lunged towards me, his hands outstretched. And I jolted awake, drenched in sweat, my heart pounding in my chest. In the following day, I received a letter bearing the Blackwood seal. And with trembling hands, I opened it to find a single sentence scrawled in Lord Reginald's handwriting. "The manor is not finished with you." And the ink appeared fresh, as if penned moments ago. And determined to confront whatever lingering presence haunted me, I returned to Blackwood Manor. And the once oppressive atmosphere now seemed almost welcoming, as if the manor itself anticipated my return. And Mr. Thorne greeted me at the door, his expression inscrutable. "And welcome back, Miss Blackwood," he intoned, his voice echoing through the grand foyer. "And Mr. Thorne," I began, "have you experienced anything unusual since my departure?" And he hesitated before replying. "The manor has been restless. Whispers in the night, shadows that move of their own accord. It appears the entity was not fully vanquished. And together we resolved to perform a cleansing ritual, hoping to rid the manor of its malevolent presence once and for all. And we gathered sage, candles, and holy water, preparing to confront the darkness head-on. As we moved from room to room, chanting prayers and burning sage, the air grew heavy, and an oppressive silence settled around us. In the grand hall, the temperature plummeted, and a chilling wind extinguished our candles. In the shadows coalesced into a towering figure, Lord Reginald. "And you cannot banish me," he hissed, his voice reverberating through the hall. "This manor is mine, and so are you." In summoning all my courage, I stepped forward, holding the rosary aloft. "You have no power here, Reginald. Your time has passed." And with a guttural scream, his form dissipated into a cloud of darkness, which dispersed into the ether. And the oppressive weight lifted, and the manor seemed to sigh in relief. Exhausted but resolute, I turned to Mr. Thorne. "It's over." He nodded, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Indeed, Miss Blackwood, the manor is finally at peace." In the days that followed, Blackwood Manor transformed into a place of light and warmth. In sunlight streamed through the windows, and the once stagnant air now carried the scent of blooming flowers. And the villagers, once wary, began to visit, sharing stories and laughter within the manor's walls. As I stood in the garden, watching children play and listening to the melodious chirping of birds, I felt a profound sense of peace. In the shadows of the past had been vanquished, and Blackwood Manor had reclaimed its rightful place as a beacon of hope and renewal. After the successful cleansing of Blackwood Manor, I decided to transform the estate into a bed and breakfast, hoping to breathe new life into its halls and share its rich history with guests. The manor's transformation attracted visitors from far and wide, each eager to experience its charm and perhaps catch a glimpse of its storied past. One autumn evening, a peculiar guest arrived, a historian named Dr. Jonathan Harker, who specialized in occult studies. He expressed keen interest in the manor's history, particularly the legends surrounding Lord Reginald's experiments. His presence rekindled old memories and unearthed lingering doubts about whether the manor was truly free from its dark past. Dr. Harker requested access to the manor's archives, hoping to uncover documents that might shed light on Lord Reginald's pursuits. And as we delved into the dusty tomes and faded manuscripts, we discovered references to a hidden chamber beneath the manor, an area not mentioned in any of the architectural plans. Intrigued and apprehensive, we decided to investigate. With Miss Thorne's assistance, we located a concealed trapdoor in the library, leading to a narrow staircase that descended into darkness. The air grew colder as we ventured deeper, the faint scent of decay assaulting our senses. At the bottom, we found a chamber lined with ancient symbols and occult artifacts. In the center stood an altar stained with what appeared to be dried blood. Dr. Harker's eyes gleamed with both excitement and trepidation as he examined the markings, identifying them as components of a ritual designed to bind spirits to specific locations. As we explored further, we uncovered a journal belonging to one of Lord Reginald's acolytes. The entries detailed gruesome experiments and hinted at a final, unfinished ritual intended to grant immortality by tethering the soul to the manor itself. It became evident that the previous disturbances were manifestations of this incomplete ritual. It determined to put an end to the lingering malevolence. Dr. Harker proposed completing the ritual to release the trapped souls. And despite my reservations, I agreed, recognizing that this might be the only way to ensure lasting peace for the manor and its inhabitants. As we gathered the necessary components and, under Dr. Harker's guidance, commenced the ritual. As we chanted the incantations, the chamber trembled, and a palpable energy filled the air. And shadows coalesced into ghostly figures, their faces etched with anguish and despair. Among them appeared Lord Reginald, his form more human than spectral. He gazed at me with a mixture of sorrow and gratitude before dissipating into a cascade of light. The other spirits followed suit, their release accompanied by a profound sense of relief that permeated the chamber. Its ritual complete, the oppressive atmosphere that had long plagued Blackwood Manor lifted entirely. And the manor seemed to exhale, its very foundation settling into a newfound tranquility. And Dr. Harker departed soon after, leaving me with a deeper understanding of my family's history and the knowledge that the past, no matter how dark, could be confronted and healed. As the days turned into weeks, Blackwood Manor flourished, its halls filled with laughter and light. And guests reveled in its beauty, unaware of the shadows that once lingered within its walls. And the manor had been reborn, a testament to resilience and the enduring power of redemption,